Hi everyone, my name's Arsh Ellahi and I am extremely excited tonight to be presenting to you an opportunity is possibly the right word, but be presenting to you a strategy that changed my life in 2015. So we're going to be talking about how to increase the value of a property without actually doing the refurb or even actually touching the property. Yesterday's Sunday, the 24th of January 2016, and like I say, my name's Arsh Ellahi. Just before we go any further, just a bit of housekeeping. I want to make sure that we've got everyone on board. Everyone can hear me correctly. So, in the far right hand side of your screen, you should have like a little control panel. If you can just, if possible, just put that yes or no, whether you can hear me clearly and correctly, that'd be fantastic. Okay, brilliant. So yes, we've got quite a few people saying yes. Okay, they can hear us nice and clear. Fantastic. And I'll be going through questions. I'll be going through some of the questions that you guys asked. So if there are any questions, please feel free to ask them there, and I'll try and go through as many as I can. We have got a lot of people on board tonight, so we've had well in excess of 1,000 people register for this webinar. So we are going to be expecting a lot of people, and I appreciate there's going to be a lot of questions, and I'll do my best to get through them all. We're going to be online for approximately between 60 and 90 minutes tonight, so I feel like a bit of an airline pilot would say, well, it'll take us approximately 2 hours to get there. No, we're going to try and get there within 60 to 90 minutes, so within there, we're going to cover a lot of content. So if you've got a pen and paper, now's the time to get it. Now's the time to start making notes. So moving forward, tonight in 90 minutes, we're going to be looking at a number of things. How to find a raging torrent of motivated sellers. How to elegantly negotiate a win-win-win discount price to buy their house. How to add value to the property without actually doing a refurb. And this is going to be the main focus of tonight. How to sell a property for more than the market value. And finally, how you can easily sell one deal a month for between £10,000 and £40,000 profit. So there's a lot that we're going to be taking on board there. So moving forward, just a little introduction as to who I am and what I do. My name's Arsh Ellahi, and I run a group of, I think it's 12 property companies with my brother Aki Ellahi. Together we're landlords and letting agents, and we've been letting property since 1973, which technically speaking isn't correct because I was actually born in 1980, and I'll tell you my story in a short while. But the beauty of it is that we're very financially free financial freedom and all that, and we've now got well in excess of 500 tenants, all on benefits. We've got a very impressive 100% rent collection record and a very high 98% occupancy rate. So I hope you find that of interest. Just quickly going through, just making sure, is everyone still hearing me clearly? A couple of guys said that they've got some issues there. Okay, just making sure. Okay, great. So moving forward, so I'm on the left-hand side, there I am, and there's my brother on the right-hand side. Some people say we look alike, other people say that we don't, so you make up that decision. So a little bit about me, because I'm going to be the person that's going to be taking you through this journey. So I'm a speaker, so you can catch me at pretty much a lot of the PIN meetings, landlord letting show, national property show, the expo, as well as you can see me writing stuff like the Guardian, as well as a magazine called Your Property Network, which is a property magazine written by property investors like myself for property investors like you. As well as that, I run a chain of letting agencies. I'm an investor myself, and when I say this with a bit of tongue-in-cheek TV celebrity, because I was actually filmed for a programme called Britain's Benefit Tenants, which was aired on the 30th of March 2015. I think it's still on Channel 4 OD. So yeah, there's just a little bit about me. So here's where it all began, because obviously everyone's got a journey. Everyone wants to know where they started to where they are today. And it's an amazing flipping secret, because I discovered it when I was a 21-year-old broke student, and I figured out a way how to send 10 deals a month with a profit between 10k to 40k on each without actually buying the property or even paying for a refurb. So you've heard it correctly. So I haven't touched the property, haven't bought the property, but yet I'm still making money from it. And tonight I'm going to show you how. Now, the reason why I'm doing this, I've put in, if you were with me last weekend, you'll notice that a couple of slides are similar, but we've adapted it massively for tonight. So stay with me. Now, there's two different kinds of property investors. Well, we've got one which is predominantly a landlord, and now the difference between the two, and we'll go through these, is that difference between the two is that you've got one landlord and you've got a property investor. Now, I would rather be the investor because an investor is able to generate cash flow a lot more, and cash flow gives you the time and the money to create freedom that landlords never have. So that's the difference. So we'll be talking about that because this is quite an important point, especially with all the new tax breaks and everything that's going to be coming out in the following year. Now, when we talk about landlords, people say that being in property is the best thing since sliced bread. Yes, you're going to make a lot of money. Yes, you're going to be a millionaire. Yes, you're going to get to financial freedom. But they never talk about the other side of the coin. Now, you've got to remember, I've been a landlord to well in excess of 500 tenants. So I still get calls. Yes, my taps are leaking. Yes, my toilet is broken. Yes, there's this going wrong. Yes, there's that going wrong. And you can, for me, I don't think being in property as a landlord, you could actually be financially free. In actual fact, you could say that you're jumping from one job to another. And you could actually get tied up into the rat race of just running around consistently to serve another client group, which is your tenants. So, and not only that, I think that being a landlord, everyone talks about buy to let, everyone talks about the cash flow that you can make from buy to let, but then you've also got to look at the pain that comes with it. You've got the mortgage company that won't give you, if the property is vacant, they don't care. They want to make sure that you're consistently paying the mortgage, and it can pretty much be like a ball and chain round your neck. When you're on holiday, you may have to take calls from tenants, or if not tenants, if you're not managing it yourself, perhaps you've employed a letting agency, they will still need to call you. They'll still need to tell you about the problems. You'll still worry about them. So I still think that there's a lot of responsibility when you become a landlord. And I thought this was a key point, actually, and I saw this today. Banks want their money. Banks want their security. Banks will put the pressure on you when times are bad. Now, if the property is vacant, regardless, you will still have to pay that mortgage. And more importantly, if you don't pay the mortgage, they'll start sending you letters, which will start incurring penalties, charges, which will eventually lead to repossession, which could then, will ruin your credit file, which will then have a downward spiral on your whole life. Does that make sense? Has that ever happened to anyone, just out of curiosity? And do you think that the banks hold the success to your future? Because, with all due respect, banks are great, and when they're lending to you, it's fantastic. But when things are going bad, they could be the thorn in your bush. Now, what I like about being a property trader, or should I say a property investor, is the fact that we benefit from cash flow. And cash flow gives us the time and the money, which gives us the freedom so that we can do whatever we like and where we like. So, it's completely cut our ties with property. We don't necessarily have to buy property to be involved in property. And there's so many different strategies out there where we talk about rent to rent, we talk about lease options, and so forth. So there's so many options out there. So, technically speaking, buying property nowadays isn't always the best way to go. So the one thing that I do always at this point now is that I want to figure out who we've got online, and more importantly, why are you here? What would you do with that extra time? Now, the pictures that we've got illustrated on the slide here, we've got a picture of a family looking very happy, spending time with the family. And then we've got someone just on an open green playing golf, and we've got a massive road to nowhere where it's just saying, you know what? Just jump on me, let's go somewhere, and let's go and keep driving as time's not an issue. So if you wouldn't mind just in your box here, if you wouldn't mind telling me, what would you do with all that extra time? Would you spend it with time? Would you spend it with your family? Would you? What's your desire? Where does your heart desire you to be? Are you currently in a job? Do you currently hate that job? Do you currently love the job? So a lot of it's so far, everyone's coming in with family. Family is the main thing. Family travels. Okay, more family, more holidays. Help with help others become free. Spend time with family. Family improve quality of life. Okay, so that's interesting. Quality of life is a great one. Leave a legacy to those who do not have it. Example: education in villages in corners of Africa. Traveling the world. Again, it comes down to family, work, and other businesses. Spend time with family. Choice. Okay, see, choice is a great word because once you've got time, you can decide what you want to do and where you go. Whereas once if you're tied down to something that tie will dictate what you do and how you do it. So Joe's put, I might actually get my own house sorted. Okay, so someone said get help their mother retire, believe it or not. Okay, someone says that they love their job. Okay, fine. So we've got a lot of different answers there. So security is also a big one. So tonight I'm going to be determined to show you how you can actually easily exceed your job salary with property cash flow within the next 3 months. But I can show you how to do it. What you decide to do from there on is completely down to you. Now, for those that, like I said earlier, I write in property. You could say I'm a bit of a blogger. I write in property publications. I write in property magazines. I get interviewed for podcasts. I get interviewed for radio interviews and lots of different things. And the reason why I say that is because there's lots of different means to get yourselves out and notice, and marketing is going to be a big thing tonight. So we'll be talking about that. And here's one of the articles that I actually wrote for Your Property Network magazine in May 2015. It's a trader's life. Do you buy it, do you hold it, or do you sell it? So we talk about some different deals that we've done there. But before we do all that, we're going to talk about what's your why. So some of you have talked about, what you want to do and how you do it. But what is your why? Is your why your family? Is your why friends? So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my why. Now, as you see here, I've got my 2 daughters here. And so we've got my eldest daughter on the top, Anya, my youngest daughter, Isla, who is going to be 1 in a couple of weeks' time. So the reason why this picture is so precious to me is because if you ask me just over 3.5 years ago, we were told that we were never to have children. Now that was a big thing for me and my wife because we're very loving. We wanted to bring kids into this world. We wanted to show them all the love and affection that we've got, and we were told that never was going to happen. And so that my wife went through. Well, we both went through a difficult time in our lives. Now, as they say, sometimes something doesn't happen for ages. It's pretty much like buses. Something doesn't happen for ages, but then all of a sudden, 2 things come at once. So I've now got 2 daughters, and these 2 girls really restructured the way that A, I work, and B, how my business operates. And I suppose it's got to be down to these 2 young ladies as to why I do the things that I do today. Now, in 2015, although I've suggested at the start that it was a phenomenal year business-wise, it was the worst year of my life. And that's quite a tough statement, really, because when I look at this picture, I always see my best friend, my mentor, my business partner, and my sounding board. Whatever I needed to do, I always used to just go back to my dad and say, Dad, thinking about this, what would you do? Or what do you think? And he would always tell me what his thoughts were. And as it so happens, I would always kind of forget what he told me and go off and do it anyway. But that's what kids do, that's what we've all done. I'm assuming we've all gone to our parents, asked for advice. We don't think that that's possibly the best advice, and we go off and do it anyway. Now, in February last year, on the 8th, on the 8th of February, 2015. It was a Monday morning. My youngest daughter on the bottom left here was born. And on Friday the 13th of February, it just happened to be Friday the 13th, my father said to me that he wasn't feeling too good, and he said, would I mind running him up to hospital? Took him up to hospital, and he says that he had a bit of a chest pain, so I thought it could have been something like a chest infection, something like that. And they said that, unfortunately, we can't find anything wrong with your chest, but we seem to have found a bit of a cloud and pointing down towards the liver. And I said to the doctor, okay, tell me what it is. What do we need to do? And I didn't think really much of it at the time. And then they said it was going to be, they said it's cancerous. Now that hit me quite hard, because then they said that they don't know how long it had been there for. Had it been there for a week, it could have been there for 20 years and undisturbed. But they said that they had to do a biopsy on it, and they reckon that he had approximately 12 months to live. So for 2015, I pretty much crossed everything out of my diary. I said whatever he wanted to do, I was going to be there for him, and we was going to do whatever he wanted to do. So we'd booked out trips away, we'd booked out helicopter rides, and everything that he wanted to do, because this was his last 12 months, and this was the last time I could do stuff like this with him. Unfortunately, he only lasted 3 weeks from that diagnosis. So it always gets me, this part does, because when I look at this person, I see the person that I spent 35 years with, and he was, like I said, my best friend. I would always speak to him every morning, every evening, and this is a real down point for me of the presentation, but so just bear with me. But this is the reason why now that I do everything that I do, because I'm now, when my father passed away in March, I said to my mom that I was going to take the rest of the year off, and I was going to help her, look after her. She's quite elderly now, and she said to me, she goes, that's not what your dad wants. She goes, your dad was a hard worker, and even then, up until the day that he was passing away, he would still go to my office every morning at 7:30 and put the heating on for me, so that when I arrived in my office at 9 o'clock, it would be warm. And I thought that's a phenomenal thing. He would still go out his way and do that for me. So I've got a lot of respect for this man. I thought, well, the one thing that I can do is show his partner and his soulmate that he's been for 46 years, the same respect that he did. And I still show my mother that respect, obviously. But she goes, no, she wouldn't want that. Get back out there and go and show the world what you're made of. And she said that to me. And that really hit home with me. So just in a nutshell, I decided to create something where I didn't have this ball and chain around my neck. I wanted to create something that was going to be truly passive income. When we talk about passive income, something that we can do from anywhere around the world, and it will make us money. So I created a short-term business which would allow me to produce enough sufficient income so that I could sustain my medium and long-term goals. So we're creating a short, a medium, and a long-term business. And so far, you may not know what that is. But if I'm going to say to you, and please read the quote here, someone offers you an amazing opportunity, but you're not sure you can do it. Say yes and learn how to do it later. Now, I'm going to ask you a very specific question here. So far, for everything that I've told you, can you do this? And I'm still waiting for some of the answers. Okay. Fantastic. Right. Because last year, even though I only worked from April to December, I flipped 140 plus properties, and here's how I did it. So when you think of business and the business world as of today, when you look at the largest corporations in the world, such as Facebook, you look at even companies like Twitter, you look at Instagram, who has now been acquired by Facebook, you look at Airbnb, you look at Uber taxis, you look at Alibaba. They're the largest companies in the world right now, but yet they don't own any content. Facebook doesn't own any content. Airbnb doesn't actually own any property. Uber taxis doesn't actually own any taxis, but yet they're the largest companies in the world. How do they do it? Why do they do it? So, when we talk about flipping houses, I'm not saying that you have to literally get your spade out and dig them up, but what I am talking about is how to create a property business. So, a little bit about this because I really want to get into the core. And I really started trading properties in the year 2000. Prior to the crash, I was actually trading up to 30 properties a month, which is 360 properties a year. I think I'm going to get back to that level this year, but I need your support with that. So I'm hoping that by the end of this, you're going to say, okay, I'm in. And I was the first company. Now, just imagine this. Now, if you look at the back of your paper, I don't care what paper it is. So in Wolverhampton, we've got something called the Express and Star. When you look at the back of the paper in the classified section, you will come across 30, 40 or 50 companies advertising in the back of the paper. I will buy your property for cash. I will offer you 100% of the purchase price. I will even offer you 100% of the market price. I will rent your property off you for the next 7 years. Whatever it may be, there's hundreds or, there's a lot of adverts out there. Call John, text me, I'll call you right back, etc., etc. I was one of the first companies in the year 2000 to actually start advertising in the back of the paper. More importantly, I decided that as the competition started increasing, I needed to do something different. Biggest thing about business, think outside the box. When you're outside the box, you're way ahead of your competitors. So I set up a high street presence. Now, here's my office. It's on the high street in Wolverhampton. You're more than welcome to come and have a chat with me. And I was the first company nationwide to set up a property trading company on the high street presence to give us competitive advantage. Now, just imagine now. Now, let's just imagine that you guys are in the back of the one of the companies acting in the back of the paper. Now, I'm the guy that's got the high street presence. Now, if a person comes to me and they're trying to sell their property, I can say, well, I'll tell you what, you've got two options. You're more than welcome to go and call John in the back of the paper, who may be a one-man band operating from a mobile phone out of the comfort of his living room. And if they do decide to proceed an offer with you, you can go through that whole process. But what happens if tomorrow he can't perform and he decides to switch off his mobile phone? How do you get in contact with him? And every time I asked that question, the penny dropped. People that we're buying from want certainty. They want guarantees. And I said to him, I'll tell you what, you're more than welcome to go and call John out the back of the paper. But once he falls through and he doesn't pick up his mobile phone, you know where I am, because I'm not going to go anywhere. I've got a high street presence. You're more than welcome to come in and sit with me in my office. We'll make a cup of tea. We'll have a look at what the issue is, and let's see what we can do to resolve the issue. So here's my office, and you see that I use multiple number of online and offline marketing strategies, which keeps us having a continuous flow of leads daily. More importantly, you'll be pleased to find that the majority of leads generated are free. So here's some of the things that we're going to be looking at tonight, and I've listed 7 out of the 10. So because if we went through all 10, we would be here predominantly all night. So we're going to be looking at investment value versus bricks and mortar value, HMO opportunities, development opportunities, restructuring of layouts, title splits, planning gains, and creative financing. So now we're right in the core of the presentation now. And the reason why I use this example, and please excuse the fact that I had to go to Google Earth just to get an image of it today. Now, when you look at this picture, would you mind telling me what do you see? Do you see just a row of terraced houses? Just waiting for some of the stuff to come through. Okay, so we see a row of houses, a row of terraced houses, and remember this is in an area. You can see in the top left hand corner. It says number 2, the Green. It's in Wednesbury. It's in Wednesbury, which is in the West Midlands of England. Okay, so someone's put something quite interesting. Regeneration area. They've put a row of terraced houses. Someone's put no parking, obviously because of the double yellow lines. Now these houses here. If you were to Google, and by all means, you're more than welcome to check this, but if you were to have a look at the properties there, you would find that a property on that road there would be anywhere between 60 and 80,000 pounds, dependent on the condition. But if I was to say to you that this little red one here, which has got the sign, which is my letting agency, was actually valued at £180,000, would that surprise you? And I'm going to be completely honest here. This blew me out the water, purely because, and I was very much involved in this transaction from start to finish, and all the properties on the one on the left and the two on the right, they are very much single let houses, which is predominantly just standard family homes. But the one with the sign on was actually converted into a HMO. So this was converted into HMO, and the investor came to me, asked me what we could do with it, and I showed them what they could do with it, and it started to generate £20,000 a year, and on the back of that, we had it valued at £180,000. But it just goes to show that what you don't know is what you don't know, because when you look at it from the outside, you would just assume that that would be the bricks and mortar valuation. No one knows what's going on inside. So don't just assume that, yeah, it's okay, 80 grand, because now we had that valuation done by the bank. I think at the time the bank was Aldermore, or I think it might have been Shawbrook, but we've got the valuation report to show that these are actually working, and that worked on its commercial valuation based on its income. Now, when we say that how do you increase the property value, predominantly what we're looking at is not so much what it is today, but what could it become. That's what the key is. Because when you look at a standard house like we looked at today, if you were to buy that property just as standard single let, obviously you'd have to pay circa between 60 and 80,000 pounds. But on the basis that the work that's been done today, it's worth it's worth 200,000 pounds, but it's valued at 180. Does that make sense so far? I haven't lost anyone, have I? And I sell so many deals every day, working on the basis that if I see a property and it's currently a single let, and I'm using this as an example. I picked up this floor plan just off Google earlier today, and you can see here we've got on the ground floor, which is on the left hand side, we've got sitting room, dining room, kitchen, and the conservatory, and then upstairs we've got the master bedroom and bedroom number 2 and a bathroom. Now, potentially, what I see from this is potentially a 4/5 bed HMO. And this is what you do. Very simple. When you're flipping property, you have to sell the potential of the property, not what it is today. And people will work on the basis that if it's pretty much like a piece of land. If it's a vacant piece of land and it's got planning permission, you're selling it. And I'll be talking about development opportunities shortly. You're actually selling it on the basis that at the moment it's a piece of land and it's worth X, but with the planning permission and with what it could be built with the gross development value, it could be worth X. So you've got to look at two different types of valuations, if that makes sense. And that's why we talk about the bricks and mortar valuation versus the commercial valuation, and that's why when we look at HMO opportunities, it's what could it be, and how much would it take to become that. So this is a slightly different property, but same kind of opportunity where it's a HMO. So here they've created a 5-bedroom HMO. So the 2 reception rooms became letting room 1 and 2. And then they've got the communal kitchen. They've got reception room 3, and then they've got 3 bedrooms upstairs. So this is potentially a 5-bed HMO, and it's very straightforward to do that. Now, we'll be talking here about development opportunities. Now, this is a great example actually, because when you're flipping deals, it doesn't necessarily mean you've got lots of deals that you can be in and out the same day. You can have some deals that you may have to wait 3 or 4 months, or possibly even a year to do. But in the meanwhile, you should be doing lots of little deals in between. Now, here's a deal, but I actually bought this one, so I'll be talking to you about this. And this is a great example about how to create the value of a property. But here, I actually bought it, so it doesn't kind of fit with the title without doing the refurb. But in actual fact, it does. And I've just confused myself, but stick with me. So when you see this property here, what do you see? Okay, so some people just say rundown shop, pub, commercial. Okay, so derelict property, someone's put flats. Okay, large commercial property, old pub, vacant building, potential for apartments, HMO, planning permission for development. Okay, right. Reason why I see this is that I saw this go up into an auction recently, and I decided that this was going to be one that I'd buy because it was in a great location for me. And I offered blindly on it, and I offered £100,000 on this without even seeing it. Now, you've got to have a certain amount of knack and ability to do this, but I can very easily show you why I did this. Now, just out of curiosity, I'm going to show you a picture next, and what I want you to do is I want you to spot the difference. Now, my building, please follow the cursor. My building is actually here. Now, what do you notice about the street? Does anyone notice anything about the street? Someone put that it's a busy high street location, built up area, commercial activity, lots of slow moving traffic. No one's actually picked up on what I saw. Right. Here's my building, and follow the cursor. My building is this building here. But when you look at the next door building, is it 1 story higher? And is this building 1 story higher? So what does that mean? Have these buildings set the precedence that my building could go up 1 story higher? More importantly, the one thing that we haven't, and I should have took a picture of this actually, you haven't figured out actually that we're in a busy location. If you go to that building there, right at the end, we're right by the town centre. So we've got the Chapel Ash, the main, what used to be the old church, which is now offices. My office is actually only on the left-hand side, so I knew this street extremely well. But I decided that I was going to purchase a building, I was going to get planning permission for it, and then I was going to sell it. So I was going to trade the property, I was going to flip it. And here's what happened. So I bought it for £100,000. I then got planning permission granted for offices on the ground floor, 8 flats above, so that's 8 1-bedroom flats. But the one thing that you didn't see is that the property actually sits on quite a generous plot, and I can actually fit 6 two-bedroom houses behind. And the beauty of it is that I bought it for £100,000, and let's see if I did this. No, I didn't. And I had it valued recently at just under £500,000 as a building plot. So even if I decide to sell it today, after I've taken into consideration my legal costs, after I've taken into consideration my architect's costs, etc., and my professional fees, could very easily walk away with approximately £350,000. So someone's put a question here. So Richard's asked, but what about the structural works of adding another story? Richard, what I'd planned to do with this, as you can see from the illustration here, I'd planned to knock down the existing building. So the existing to knock down that building and remove the rubble was going to take approximately £25,000. So we'd taken that cost into consideration. So I wouldn't have, because the building was in quite bad shape, I wouldn't have wanted to start work on that building as it was. Now, here's one that everyone can do. You don't have to buy properties to do this. All it is pretty much restructure the layout, which is exactly what it is. Now, I'm not sure, but last time I looked, I think every town, possibly every street, every city in the UK has a 2-bedroom mid-terrace property. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that is the case. And if you look at the illustration on the left, you'll find that there's a reception room, and a kitchen. And then upstairs you've got the bedroom, and the bathroom. Now, a lot of the 2-bedroom mid-terrace properties generally have like a little coal house at the back, is that correct? Or like an outside toilet. Now, if you turn that outside toilet into the downstairs bathroom, what could you do with that bathroom that was up on the upstairs? Potentially turn it into another bedroom. And you can then turn it from a 2-bed into a 3-bed. And remember, you don't have to do the work. All you do is selling the idea. You'll trade it. So you find the deal. You pretty much just draw on what your plans are. Probably run it past an architect. Get him to run his eye over it. And then you're selling the idea. Okay, this is what can be done. Remember, it doesn't require planning permission for anything up to 4 meters for an extension. So it's all within permitted developments. And because you've turned it from a 2-bed into potentially a 3-bed, what have you just done to the value? You need to ask yourself these kind of questions. It's then increased from a 2-bed to a 3-bed property. Naturally, the value is going to increase. Now, the final, I think this is one of the ones that we're going to be talking about, title splits. Now, I'm a big fan of title splits because if you do it correctly, you can actually make a lot of money. And here's a deal that I did in 2015 where I've actually just finished writing about this, and it's going to go in one of the property podcasts or someone's book that they've asked for a deal that I did. So this is going in one of the books. So I got approached, well, when I say I got approached, I saw a property that was going for sale, and it was a large 2-bedroom flat. So as you can see here, in actual fact, we've called it lounge, dining room, kitchen and bedroom. But in actual fact, the way that it worked was the dining room was actually being used as a second bedroom. And here you'll notice that we're on the main front. We're on the main front. We're on the main road on the front here, where my cursor is. But to get into the property, you had to walk around the back. And I've even put the address here, so if anyone wants to come over and have a look at how I've done this, you're more than welcome to do it. And so you had to walk through the rear, which is quite a long jaunt to get into. But what I did is I turned it from a 1 2-bedroom flat into 2 1-bedroom flats, and I did a title split, and now that these have been sold. So remember, I said that this was a main road. What I did is I brought into play the entrance, and now I split it into 2 flats. So we've got flat number 1 over here, flat number 2. So each one's got its own little lounge, kitchen, open plan. Then you've got the bathroom, bedroom, same again, lounge, kitchen, bedroom, bathroom. And I bought the flat, believe it or not, for £40,000. I spent 20 grand on a refurb, so it owes me 60 grand. But now these flats are on the market for £82,000 each, and you could actually find them on Rightmove if you have a look. Just so that you know that I'm not telling any porky pies. So technically speaking, I'll be walking away with 100 grand from this, but obviously this is just a deal that I've done. But I can show you that you could do these kind of deals without actually owning the property. All you've got to do is make sure you've got the vendor on board. You've got to be creative. You've got to buy yourself some time, and you've got to create a win-win scenario. Remember, the key to everything is negotiation, because once you communicate with someone and you bring them on your level, you dictate the terms. So with flipping and deal sourcing, it is all about negotiation, the ability to create the win-win-win scenario. In a flipping business, there's 3 people involved. So there's the vendor who owns the property, there's you who's going to be acting as a middleman. And that's exactly what you are, middleman. You don't get involved in the transaction. All you do is you take your fee commission out the centre. And then you've got the third person who is the purchaser, the investor who wants to buy the deal off you. And these are things, communication is the thing that you use in everyday life. This is the thing that gets you by every day. When you walk into a shop, you communicate with someone. When you work with your colleagues, you're communicating with someone. How they communicate back with you is how they got along with you. What you need to do is, best way to say this, practice your negotiation, practice your communication so that you get someone on your wavelength. Are you friends with everyone? Perhaps everyone likes you. That's just down to the way that you are and how you communicate with them. So one thing that's required in deal sourcing and flipping, and I've put these pretty much in order. So you need hunger, you need focus, you need discipline, you need to have the communication skills, you need the enthusiasm and the dedication and the consistency. Consistency is a big key, because in actual fact, I know that we've got a young lady online tonight. I've seen her name pop up on the registration sheet, and I think she's still on. May, I hope yes, you are online, May. And she was worried about doing this, and because she decided to come on a bit of a journey with us. And I've said to her, she has to remain motivated consistently from time to time. Flipping is a numbers game. You have to keep putting out enough stuff until stuff sticks. You will get a lot of knockbacks, without a doubt. You have to have some self-direction. You have to have the hunger. If you don't have the hunger, what's the point going out for it? Now, you could say that I am very, very comfortable, but why do I still keep doing this? I love the thought of coming out of a vendor's home and going, yes, I've done a deal. Pretty much like a bit of a Del Boy. I love trading. I absolutely love the fact now that I've made a bit of money with little work involved. But most of all, you've got to have the passion. And the reason why I say passion is because people will pick up on your passion. You know, people will do business with people they like. Now, when you walk into a vendor's home and you're negotiating, if they don't click with you, it doesn't matter how much you offer, they still won't sell to you. Your passion has to come through. Why must they sell to you? What is it that's so good about you that they can't deny you the opportunity? And I hate to say that, we talk about communication, and me and my wife, we're looking to move at the moment. And the one thing that I couldn't get my head around is that we looked at a house, we offered market value for it. And for some reason, when I walked around, I just knew the vendor didn't believe that I could afford their property. And even though I offered market value, he still refused my offer. I thought that's really strange. But as a knockback, I got back up and we carried on. I find it really hard to take in, the fact that you still can't buy stuff like that. But technically speaking, passion, keep going. What is it that you do? How you do it will get you through life. And it's the stuff that you do in everyday life. So I'm not teaching you anything new here. But if you've got passion, you can actually do anything. And I'm a firm believer of that. Because working hard for something we don't care about is called stress. Working hard for something we love is called passion. Now, you've got to remember that I don't really need to do the things that I do, but I do it because I love it. I don't need to wake up at 5:30 in the morning and start work, but I do it because I love it. I love the thought. I love the buzz of it. I love the thought of knowing that I'm going to be helping people. I love the thought of knowing that I'm changing lives. And that's all passion. With flipping, negotiation is a key without a doubt. To be successful in flipping, you've got to be a strong negotiator. You've also got to negotiate the purchase, but also negotiate the sale. And the devil's in the detail, because if you get the numbers wrong, it'll damage your credibility as a sourcer. But the key to negotiation is understanding the pain. Now look at point number 2 here. The key to success in flipping is to find the pain and then find a solution to eradicate the pain. And the one thing that you'll find with flipping is that there are no two same scenarios. You could go into one property and a person is just looking to sell their property because they want to move on. Second property that you may go into may be a rebate case where someone's passed away. Third person may be facing repossession. So there's no such thing as a script for this. But what you do need to do is make sure that your negotiation skills are on point and your communication skills are on point so that you can get yourself through the deal. But not only once you've got the deal, you're able to negotiate the sale of the property as well. Because, as I said, the devil's in the detail. If you get the numbers wrong, it'll damage your credibility as a property trader. And something that I'm quite proud of is that the 15 years that I've been trading, I've never ever had anyone come back to me informing me that they've purchased a bad deal, because I am so up to speed on my numbers. I make sure that everyone knows the devil of the detail. What they're buying, how much they're paying for it, what's the rate of investment, why they should be buying it, why is it the best deal of the century. Now, we need to figure out how to create the value. Now, there's lots of ways to create value. Now, you can potentially purchase it below market value. You could potentially package it up as a lease option deal, a rent-to-rent opportunity, a JV opportunity, an investment opportunity, a development opportunity. When we say JV opportunity, we could do JV opportunities with a vendor. A lease option could be where you potentially take a lease on for the next 10 years or so. So there's potentially not a purchase in place, but a lease in place. A rent to rent, which I'm hoping most of you will know about, pretty similar to a lease option where there's no option to purchase at the end. And just so that you know, last week, so I'm talking the week beginning, the 18th of January 2016, we did a deal with a gentleman, an investor, who had 3 rent-to-rent opportunities. And I've sold them that afternoon, and we made a sourcing fee of £4,000 per property. So last week, we made 4 properties, £4,000 each. You do the maths. And I know that one of the people online, let's have a look if Vivian's online. No, she's not. Okay, so I know that there's a gentleman online called Andrew. And I saw Andrew, I think, on Wednesday afternoon. Was it Tuesday or Wednesday afternoon? And we went to meet Andrew, and he had an investor who had some more stock as well. But straight after meeting Andrew, I went and met another investor, and we had these deals. Those deals are done. We're hoping to close the deal tomorrow, and I'm 16 grand better off. I've put A in touch of B, and I've collected some C, which equals some cash. Simple as that. And we're not breaking any rules here. We're not doing anything special. I don't want to own the property. Why do I? Why do I want the ball and chain around my neck? I could get in and out very quickly, do the deal, and we're on to the next one, on to the next one, and on to the next one. The average property deal, the average over a year is about 5 grand. So you can charge anything from 3 grand upwards from us for a small house, 5 to 8 grand for HMOs, for a small HMOs, 10 grand upwards for a large HMO, and up to 30 grand plus for a large plot, for a lot plot of land which has got some form of development opportunity. So they're the kind of deal, there's the kind of scale of the deals that you should be looking to do. Now, I spoke about these quite a lot last week, so I'm going to quickly skip through some of them because I know that we've got quite a few new faces on the webinar tonight. So I'm not going to go into these into too great detail, but here's how we created some of the deals. Now, here's some of the deals. So here's one in Liverpool where we've got a shop and 4 flats. We agreed to deal with the owner at 70. We sold it on for 110. We made a sourcing fee of 40 grand and it took 7 days. Here's a row of 4 houses, but each of the houses was split into 2 one-bedroom flats. We did a 5-year lease option. So as you can appreciate, there's no 2 deals the same. The first one was a purchase. This is a lease option. We generated a fee of 4k per property, giving us a 16 grand commission. And it took 3 weeks to negotiate this deal. Here's a property in Walsall where we agreed to purchase at 220. We sold it for 245. But here's a deal again, a different dynamic. We exchanged the investor exchange with a 6-month delayed completion because the property was in need of modernisation. It allowed the investor to go in, do the workup, get it revalued at the higher value, and it worked very nicely for both parties. But I negotiated that. I instructed it. And I put it forward into a format where the investor liked the deal that much that they wanted to buy it there and then. And that's all you got to do. You've got to be a deal maker. And here's a flat that I did just before Christmas, and we did this within a day. So I went and saw this. I think it was the week. Let's have a quick look at the diary. What was the last working week in December? And it was, the last working week in December, so it's the 14th, week beginning the 14th. When I say full working week, the week beginning the 14th of December, we agreed the deal on the 14th of December. The investor bought it off me that same day, and he completed the deal on Friday the 18th of December. And we agreed it at 30, sold it for 40, making 10 grand off one deal. Here's a property, again, a different dynamic here, commercial to residential opportunity, where it's a lease option, 10-year lease option deal, and we took a 5k fee out of it. We packaged it to a format where the investor who came in understood the format, understood how it made money, why it made money, and they decided to take it off us straight away. Now, a lot of the deals that you saw there were in the Midlands, and so I'm going to tell you about some deals that happened further afield. So there's one in Middleton, which was a standard single-let house, but it was quite a large property, which was in a distressed situation, and we saw that it had a massive HMO opportunity. I think it could have got between 8 and 10 bed HMO. We agreed the purchase price at 120. We sold it within 7 days at 140, giving us a 20 grand commission, and it took a week to do that negotiation, and it took 4 weeks to complete on the deal. And here's one in Birkenhead in the Merseyside where we agreed 35 grand. I think it was this one here with the shutter. Yes, it was. Was it that one? Yes, it was the 2 shutters there. This one here with the shutter, we agreed it at 35 grand. We sold it within 3 days for 40 grand, giving us a commission of 5 grand. So anything can sell anywhere, providing you've got the vision. So just off those deals that we mentioned alone there, we made a commission of 120 grand. And we did 133 other deals like this in 2015. Now you do the maths. Does it work? More importantly, I'm going to ask you the question again. Can you do this? Now everyone's saying yes, they can. Right, the reason why I say this is because this works nationwide. Tell me where there's a property for sale and I'll find the motivation for it. You know, technically speaking, as soon as someone puts their property for sale, there's a motivation behind it. We've got to find out what the motivation is, what the pain is, how can we deal with it, how can we package it, how can we sell it. You've got to ask yourself now, if you're presented with a property opportunity which made financial and commercial sense, would you do it? Now, if you're in property, you're in business, and you've got a bit of a business brain on you, of course you would. So this answers my question, is that if you answered yes, you could have potentially been a potential purchaser for any of my deals. So some of the other areas we did deals in 2015, Leeds, Huddersfield, Manchester, Wigan, Stockton-on-Tees, Cleethorpes, Gloucester, Bristol and Fulham. So with a sourcer, because you're not actually owning the property, you could actually afford to trade or find deals nationwide. So what we're looking for potentially is more sources. So I've created something called the Elite Property Tribe, and I want to introduce you into something called the concept. Now, by all means, this isn't a sell or anything like this. I want to present to you a JV opportunity. Excuse me because I am a little bit bunged up. I'm trying to get to the back end of something called the man flu, which is possibly the worst thing that I've ever experienced. So, the Elite Property Tribe. Do you know that most landlords don't actually make job replacing income and don't have the passive income that they'd hoped for? Remember, we talked about the ball and chain? They're still attached to something. Whereas what I want to do, I want to help people achieve the time and money freedom that they want, not only by teaching them how to do it, I also want to be providing you with a unique way that you can sell your deals or your houses quickly to my investor database that I've built up over 15 years. So here's where it is. Here's where the penny now drops. I've created something called the Elite Property Tribe, which is the only training company to give you the skill set, mindset, accountability, motivation, and ongoing support, and a ready-made platform to sell your deals that guarantees you success. Now, stay with me because what I want to do, I want to create the greatest tribe of deal sourcer machines in 2016. I want to turn you into a deal sourcer machine. And in my sessions, I'll be teaching you how to find the deals, how to negotiate the deals, and how to sell the deals. Now, if you're on my mentorship, I do one-to-one mentorships, by the way. And if you're on my mentorship for an hour a week, that would cost you 12 grand a year, which is equivalent to £1,000 a month. But because of the knowledge that I've got, you can guarantee that you're going to make that 12 grand back. Now, everyone that's been on my mentorship so far has done phenomenally well, but I'm not selling you here a mentorship. Because what I'm showing you is a potential JV opportunity which is only available to people who are in the Elite Property Tribe. And just so that you know, so that I'm making it perfectly clear, I will only JV with people who are in the tribe and who would like me to sell their deals to my database. Now, I love this photo because did you ever watch a film called The Wolf of Wall Street? Because if you did, he created something called the Wolf Pack. And I want to create the Wolf Pack, or should I say, I have started to create the Wolf Pack. I want to turn you guys into the best deal sourcing machines you can be. But in order for you to do that, I need your commitment. I need your dedication. And I need your hunger and desire. Now, here's some guys that I did some work with last year, Paul and Tracy, who were already property investors. They've already got some properties themselves, but they didn't have the deal they didn't have the funds at the time to do this deal. So they approached me with it. We agreed a deal. We agreed it for 120. We sold it all for 140. And the beauty with it is that when we did the JV on it, we split the profits 50-50. And it was really simple as that. I negotiated the deal for them. I sold it for them. All they did, they bought the lead in. And it really was as simple as that. They sourced the deal and I found the buyer. We split it 10 grand each. Here's another chap that I do a lot of work with, Danny Jones. Danny and I actually do multiple deals every month because he's a very good sourcer. He's learned a lot off me over the last year. And I think we've done best part of 6-7 deals. So there's lots of deals that we've done, and the one that I showed you with the flats and the shop underneath was one that Danny bought to me. So he had a vendor that contacted him with a shop and 4 studios. Danny instantly knew that this was a great deal, but he couldn't see how to monetize it without putting in a lot of money and costing a refurb, which he didn't have the funds to do. So I negotiated the deal at 70 grand. We sold it for 110 grand, and we made £40,000, which we split for 50-50. And finally, there's a chap called Wasim, who's a retired factory worker. He's got severe health issues, and I loved working with Wasim because he's such a gentle guy. I think he's 62 years old, but he's still got so much desire. Even though he's got severe health issues, he's still got the ability to go out and do a deal. So we got another property there where we sold a development opportunity on for a 10k fee. He was happy with 5 grand. I was happy with 5 grand. Wouldn't you be? So what is Elite Property Tribe? What I'm going to be doing is that I'm going to be running a weekly webinar only to Tribe members, where it's an exclusive webinar where I'll be showing you how to generate new deals via new methods of marketing. We're going to be having quarterly meetings in person. We're going to be having access to an online portal where you see all the webinar recordings. You get access to a private Facebook group for further discussions and Q&A and support. You get access to a private WhatsApp group, and you get direct access to Arsh to discuss any deals. So I'm going to be showing you how to become a lead magnet, how to generate up to 6 to 10 leads a month using a low-cost guerrilla marketing strategy, how to dodge the kind of questions for questions like how much will you give me for my house, which kind of brings a lot of negotiations dead. More importantly, I want you to get into the mindset that you can sell every deal within 4 days and do a JV with me. I've got a database of over 50,000 investors on my database that we sell deals for every week. Now, if you're on my email database, you would have realized that last week, what did we put out? We put out some deals last week, and the week before we did a few deals, and the week before that we did a HMO in Grimsby. So every week we're putting out new stock. So you'll see tomorrow I'm about to put out some more stock. So you'll see that we're consistently, I want to increase traffic to that. I want you to go out and get some stock. Let's have a look at how you can do it and bring it in, and let's see how we can make some money together. More importantly, I want you to build a long-lasting relationship with investors so that they become repeat customers for your deals and your houses. I want you to create a deal that becomes a strong sourcing fee. I want to show you the calculations, which means that you'll never sell yourself short and create a win-win-win for you, the vendor, and the investor. want you to know the rock solid confidence exactly how to flip houses from every month from 10 to 40 grand without having to buy them or pay for a refurb, and so many more. And this is a key thing for me. I started here from scratch. So everything that I've learned from scratch. I've made some mistakes. I've learned from them. Now, the one thing that I did do is I figured out a secret of a credit card size classified ad that made the phone ring for months. And this ad, which costs approximately 57 quid, will put you in contact with enough cash investors to sell houses and deals to for the rest of the year. Now, what I am offering, I know this sounds like a bit of a pitch now, but believe me, it's not, because this is such an opportunity for everyone that's on this webinar, and on this webinar only, because it actually closes this week. I'm actually so confident that everyone can do this that I'm actually offering people a 90-day money-back guarantee. So if you do join the Elite Property Tribe and you participate in all the webinars and you attend the live event in March, if for whatever reason you're not completely satisfied after 3 months, or if you haven't done a deal or what have you within that period, you just call me or you send me an email and I'll send you the money straight back. Simple as that. Because this is what success looks like. Because you too can earn this face of pure accomplishment. Now remember, we talked earlier about now's your time to shine. We talked about all the things that you hate. We talked about all the things that you want to move away from. Now's your time. Because in the end, we only regret the chances we didn't take. Now, a lot of people say, well, is it actually as easy as I make it? What if it takes more time than you thought it takes to see results? Naturally, with anything, it's going to be about the time and the commitment that you put into it. If you're expecting stuff to land on your desk or land on your lap without doing any work, how's it going to work? What I need, remember, go back to the key points: commitment, dedication, motivation, self-motivation. If someone says no, don't take that as a no. Take that as an opportunity to progress it further, to turn it into a yes. You've got nothing to lose from it, and in a very short space of time, you'll have time and money freedom that you've always wanted. So again, just go back to 90-day guarantee. Now, what I'm offering you now is a life-changing property opportunity to join a life-changing property cash flow training. We're offering it out, and now here's the point: we're offering it out at £3,000, and that's only until the end of January. Now, I don't want hundreds of people on this. All I want is a select few. And the reason, I'll be completely honest, the reason why it is £3,000 is because I want your commitment. I want your sheer determination and your dedication. Because if it was for free, everyone would do it, everyone would try it, everyone would give up shortly after. But if you've got some pain or you've got some skin in the game, I know I'm going to have your attention. More importantly, you're going to be eager to do the deals. Just so that you know, I ran a webinar last week, and I'm going to show you something shortly that the guys on this webinar decided to join up to the Elite Property Tribe, and this week they've already made back their initial investment. How crazy is that? So there's two guys, and I'll show you them in a second. So if this is for you, here's a link right at the bottom there. I'm after 10 exceptional individuals that I could turn into the greatest deal sourcer in the UK. And tonight you can have it for £3,000. And after tonight and after the end point, which is the 31st of Jan, we start training on the first week of February, and there isn't a point that you can join after that point. So we've talked about things that you want to do. Now we're still in January, which means that we've still got so much time this year to change your life and change the things that you want to do this year. I'm giving you that opportunity by joining with me and JVing with me. I need your commitment. Again, just going through some of the stuff that we'll be getting, the weekly training, the access to the online portal with all the webinar recording, the JV with me, the access to the private Facebook group, which is only available to tribe members, the access to the WhatsApp group, which I'll show you in a second, the quarterly physical meets, which is going to have keynote speakers, as well as the access to my power team, which is architects, accountants, lawyers, and mortgage brokers. Now, I'm breaking it down. Now, I appreciate that £3,000 is a lot of money. If you haven't got the £3,000, what I'm also offering you is the option to potentially break it down into 2 payments or even 3 payments, which will still keep you focused. So if this is of interest for you, please take note, because we're getting very close to the end here. Now, here's a WhatsApp group. Now you'll notice that some of the guys are on here, and it's just giving you an example. Some of the people, we've started to create the communication. We've started to figure out who's doing what. Who are they? Where are they? What's their experience? I'm getting into their minds. I'm trying to figure out where they are, what we need to do. But more importantly, here's an example of people already communicating. We're creating a community like no other. This has never been done before, and I'm really excited by it. Could you be a part of it? More importantly, 2 of the elite members have already brought deals to the table, and we're in the process of negotiating the sales with my investors. You can do this too. Remember, we're after 10 exceptional individuals, and tonight you can have it for £3,000. And after January, it's not available. We're going to be proceeding with the guys that we've got on board, and we're going to be changing their lives. So the link at the bottom again is bit.ly/elite-pt. I appreciate it's a big commitment. So what I'm saying is that if you are interested, please feel free to give me a call. Let's have a chat, and let's see what we can do. After the webinar, I'm available for a chat if you want to discuss it further. Or if you want to just jump on board, I'll give you the link again in a second. Because the next thing you've got to ask yourself is, what are you waiting for? We're only living once, so you've got to tell me. Everyone wants to reach for the top. Everyone wants to believe in that dream that they've got. Going back to the points of why you're doing this, everyone wants financial freedom. Everyone wants to break away from the rat race. So just going through some of the questions. So someone's just asked me very quickly to put the slide back up with the link. So very quickly, I'm going to ask you a question. Well, I'm going to ask you, are there any questions? So someone's put out, here we go. Okay, so let's just quickly go. Someone's put, how do you get better negotiation skills? That's a simple one. Practice, 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 but more importantly, learn off someone who already has great negotiation skills. Remember, negotiation all comes down to psychology. There's a 12-step process, in actual fact, that gets you to sales success. Now, I'll be putting you in contact with people like sales trainers who actually could show you the step-by-step psychology process, which I've learned, which will get you through the negotiation process. So that's not actually a hard question. Someone says, do you put out leaflets, or do you go door knocking, or just talk? Don't the estate agents get pissed off? Excuse my language. Yes, they do, but you've got to remember that we don't put out leaflets, so to speak. But what we do is we do direct marketing with owners. We don't do door knocking, but what we will be doing is doing some letter writing. Estate agents naturally will get a little annoyed because you're taking business off them. But more importantly, if they're a great agent, why would they not have spotted the opportunities themselves? If they were property professionals, surely they should have done this already. If they see a property with great potential, they must already have a book of investors themselves. Why have they not done it? They've only got themselves to blame for missing an opportunity. So what is the content of the weekly webinars? So every week we will be talking about new strategies. More importantly, all the guys that are in the tribe, they're going to be telling us about what they've done that week and how they've got on, what's worked well for them, what hasn't worked well for them, what do we need to get them to start working well. Remember, it's a community. I want to make sure that everyone's got it. For the first few months, I will be teaching you different strategies as to how to get yourselves back out there, how to get yourselves in front of vendors, how to get yourself in front of people who are selling their properties, how to get yourself in front of people who are renting their properties. Because remember, there's lots of ways to skin a cat. So someone's put, well, how much will I need for the marketing? We've said that the marketing budget for the year should be no more than £1,000 to £2,000, which means that your total investment should be £5,000 for the year. All the marketing is it's a very low cost budget, but it is high energy marketing. So remember, it's not one of these things that says, okay, you need £3,000 to join, but you need £30,000 to market. Not at all. Remember, a lot of it will be setup costs for, you've got to set up a company, etc., etc. So you just got to take that into consideration. So yeah, it goes on to your next question, Stephen. Will I need to set up a limited company? The next thing that I will be doing is I'll be putting people in contact with our resident tribe tax advisor, who will be showing you the best way to structure your business. Okay, so Julian's put, please don't tell us that we have to go out sticking leaflets on lampposts. Not at all, Julian. I don't believe in that. I never have, and I never will. Okay, so someone's put, Arsh, can we speak after this? I have 135 deals in my portfolio that are personally secured with options. They're a mix. I don't think I need a trader, but can bring the tables tonight. Interesting. Andrew, let's have a chat. Okay, so what's put, if I introduce you to a landlord with multiple properties, would I get the commission on all properties bought from that lead that I bought to you? If you're providing you're part of the tribe, remember, I only talk to people who are in the tribe because they've put their commitment and they've put their time into me. I'm now putting my time and my energy back into them. So if you bring a landlord who's got multiple properties and we do a deal, every deal that we do with them, we split the commission with you. Right, okay. So Anne's asked a question, how do we sign the sorting contract? Do we sign the sorting contract with the owner before coming to you? And do we agree a price before coming to you? Now, sometimes, Anne, the one thing that you might need to do is there are contracts that I will be supplying you with. There'll be documents that I'll be supplying you with so that we get exclusivity to the deal. Making sure that before you go off and market it, we need to make sure that the vendor isn't talking to lots of other people. So there's lots of things that we need to take into consideration. Now, me has asked me to give her a call tomorrow. If I'm going to be completely honest, if you could give me a call tomorrow, that'd be fantastic. So I'll put my mobile number up again in a second. Right, okay, so Hardeep's asked a question. How do you connect with vendors if you find a property online being controlled through an agent? That's a simple one. I'll give you a straightforward answer, is that you can find their details predominantly on Land Registry. And then you need to make contact direct with the owner that way. So Peter's asked, would this involve a contract between Arsh and me personally or working as a casual basis? Remember, I only get involved in your deal if you want me to sell it to your database. Initially, I'm training you to become a deal sourcing machine. If you sell it to your own investors, great, you've made 100% of the money. If you bring the deal to me, that's where it's a split basis. If you sell it to one of my investors, it works on a split basis. So if you sell it to your own investors, Peter, I've got nothing to do involved with that. And I wish you the very best of luck with it. What time period does the £3,000 cover? It is a 12-month program, so from February up until January next year. Okay, so Sean's asked a question. Agents losing sales. If you found a deal through an agent, wouldn't you offer to pay their commission to help maintain their relationship? Absolutely. Because remember, relationships are everything, and you need to make sure that you've got to make sure that the agent, if they're if you're working with agents, then and the one thing that agents don't like is the fact that they haven't sold the property. So the way that you've got to do it is that you've got to create a win-win-win-win scenario so that everyone wins, so that you've got to put one more person into the equation, the agent. You've got to figure out, first of all, are they going to allow you to speak directly to the owner? Second of all, they've got to figure out, they will always want to know who the purchaser is. At the point of speaking to them, you may not know who the purchaser is because obviously we're still trying to do the due diligence on it. So you need to make sure that your agent is on board in order for it to work. So we'll be talking about that because Sean is part of the tribe, so that's part of the training. So don't worry about that too yet. So is the event set in March or 1 or 2 days? Stephen, just so that you know, the meetings that we have are quarterly and it's a 1 day event and it will be held in the West Midlands because people from the north generally can't travel to the south. People from the south can't generally travel to the north. I don't know, there must be a massive barrier. So we always have it in the Midlands. So there will be things that you will have to do. So you will have to have registration with companies like the Property Ombudsman, as well as having insurance, etc. But we'll be going through all that because when you're trading properties, you naturally have to. Right, just quickly going through some of the questions. Okay, Stephen says, "Okay, Arsh, I'm in. I'd like to split the payment. How do I do this?" Very quick question. All you got to do, Stephen, is give me a quick call. As soon as we've finished, I'd be happy to show you. Michael said, EPT is for me. How about developing all as a UK network? Okay, so Michael, it sounds like you've got some big plans. Give me a call after. Unfortunately, Carly, I haven't figured out the date. What date? I think we're going to be doing it towards the end of March. The reason why we're doing it at the end of March is if we start training at the start of Feb, I need to give you guys enough training, pretty much 6 to 7 weeks worth of training, so that you can go out and get some deals. And we'll be then regrouping in March, as well as the weekly webinars, as well as the WhatsApp and the Facebook group. So there's going to be a lot of communication. So Peter's asked a question. In addition to the 3K, what other money would you anticipate? If you put, would you be required for the year? Remember, Peter, all you need is one deal, and you're going to get that money back. So I would put aside another 2K for marketing, and then think of that the profits that you're going to be getting out of the back end of that, technically speaking, once it's with anything, once you've done the first deal, you're up and running. Once the wheel has started to move, the motion is set. And you'll find that deal will come after deal after deal. Remember, what I'm trying to teach you to become is the go-to guy in your location. Now, if you come in anywhere in the West Midlands, pretty much anywhere in the UK, people have heard of me. Now, how did you hear of me? How did you hear of this webinar? It's because of my strategic marketing that you're here tonight. I'm trying to teach you how to become a marketing machine. I'm trying to teach you how to become a property machine. Now, someone's going to ask, right, I'm going to answer this question for everyone that's on this webinar because I got this last week as well. Someone said that, unfortunately, I can't afford it right now. Can I give you money once I've made my first deal? And the reason I'm going to have to say no and decline that is A, because we'll have enough people join. And second of all, and this is the main reason, is because I haven't got your attention or your commitment. And the reason why I say that is because if it's free, today it may sound like a great idea. Tomorrow something may come up. Oh, I've got to take my wife to the doctors. Oh, I've got to go and do this. I've got to do that. Slowly but surely, your attention will disappear. Now, all I would have done, I would have spent time and effort in trying to educate you, and then all you would have done is disappeared into the background. I'm not here to do that, unfortunately. I need your dedication, commitment. I know if I'm taking money off you, I know you're going to be committed to the cause. So, unfortunately, I can't do it unless you're committed. Now, someone's asked a question that we need to be setting up a company and registering with the Property Ombudsman. This wouldn't be suitable for someone who's on the brink of bankruptcy. Why not? Maybe you should give me a call and we can have a chat about that. Okay, so someone's asked, so first few deals, if I bring a deal, would you sell it for me to investors in your database? That's exactly what we're offering, Yoko. Because naturally, to start with, you're not going to have your own database. Part of the training is how to create your own database. I want you to sell deals to your own database. I want you to create your own database. I want you to become the go-to guy in your area. So yes, yes, yes. I'm happy to JV when they sell to my database. I'm happy to sell. I'm happy to help you create your own database. I'm happy to help you sell to your own database. Right, okay. Joe has put, I'm in an area with lots of low codes, slow appreciation properties. Have I still got people interested? Definitely, because in those areas, if it's slow appreciation, that generally means it's low value. If it's low value, that means it's great yields, high yields. Why wouldn't people buy in high yield areas? Right. Now, here's a great question, and I should have added this into the presentation. Now, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Me. Does the 3% additional stamp duty and tax relief written off from 2017 to 2020 affect your flipping business? Not at bloody all. The reason being is that we don't get involved in the transaction whatsoever. We put A and B together. We act as C. We're taking a commission exactly the same as an estate agency would. We don't get charged. We don't get involved in the transaction. All we do is we sit in the centre. Stevens asks, will we be covering our own patch or is this a nationwide strategy? Now, this is a nationwide strategy. You don't have to just worry about your own area. If you know someone that's got a deal in Nottingham and you're based down in Devon, do the deal. If you're in Luton and you know someone down in up in Scotland, do the deal. So it's definitely, I'm in Wolverhampton, and this week we've done deals in potentially Devon with one of our tribe members. We're doing some deals in Leeds as well as North Wales. Now, those deals aren't in Wolverhampton, but you can guarantee that I'm going to do the bloody deals. Okay, but Yoko put, but don't I have to do the negotiations? Yes, you'll have to do the negotiations, but I don't get the question. Negotiations are selling. I mean, you'll be learning how to sell. You'll be learning how to buy. That's part of the process. You have to know how to negotiate the buy. You have to know how to seal the deal. I could show you how to sell the deal because selling a deal predominantly is marketing. Now, if you've ever been on my database, Have a look at how I structure my deals. I put it so forward in a format where it's so easy to understand, but more importantly, to the investor, it shows that it's a fantastic opportunity and it's earning them a lot more money than it is in the bank. Right, Jim's put, and this is a great question. How many hours would you say it takes to make this work each week? And the reason why I say is because he's a teacher and he doesn't have a huge amount of time and would like to try. Okay, Jim, first of all, you're in a great situation. And the reason why you're in a great situation, as I was having this conversation with another school teacher last week, because when you're at a school, when you're a school teacher, you've already pretty much got a ready-made audience. All the kids, I'm assuming, have one parent or another, and they all live in a property. The one thing you don't know is how many of those families are going through some form of pain. They're not all going to be happy living families, and I know that you know this because kids, when they come to school, pick up on the tension of their parents. You, as a teacher, already understand the psychology of children. This is so goddamn easy for you. You've got a market sitting there in front of you every day that you could pick up and you could write to. The one thing that you've got to do is separate yourself professionally. Let's have a chat. So, if you've got some questions, I'm more than happy to. I'm just having a quick look at my phone. I bet you I've got some messages. Yep, got some messages off some guys saying, want to have a chat. Okay. Do we need to be able to physically visit the property? Technically, I would advise for you to visit the property. Now, remember, I'm based in Wolverhampton, but this week I'll probably be going down to Devon as well as Leeds. I'm going to Milton Keynes tomorrow to look at some stock. And the reason why I do that is because when someone says that a property is a 3-bed mid-terrace property, before we put it out to our database, I need to make sure that A, we've got some photos, B, it is what we say it is on the tin. Otherwise, remember, go back to the statistic that I've never had a deal come back to me. I don't want a deal to come back to me. I need to make sure that you've got it right. You've got it right. Because if your figures don't stack up, it's going to lose credibility for me if you put it out to my database, and that's something that I don't want to do. So, just quickly going, the webinars will always be at 8 p.m. on a Wednesday, and I've crossed out that time for the rest of the year. So Wednesday evenings at 8 p.m. Remember, they will be recorded. They will be uploaded up onto a platform that if you can't make it that night, they'll be recorded so that you can view them there straight after. So by all means, yeah. Julian's put, how do you stop someone stealing the deal? When you say stealing the deal, do you mean the purchaser stealing the deal from you? If that's the case, the one thing that I always do up front is I take my commission out the centre straight away. Because if they're trying to steal the deal, they're trying to steal the deal, they've already paid you, so I don't understand that question. But more importantly, the documentation in place should restrict you from that happening. Okay, so Anna's just one of the final questions that we've got here is that Anne says that I'm in Wolverhampton, and this might present a conflict of interest as I'm hoping to get a job in property. Interesting. A job in property, meeting vendors, sounds interesting. Remember, you've got to look at it with a completely different light. Agents only work in a certain way. You've got to work with as an investor's hat on and the best possible opportunity. But more importantly, if you're going to go work for an agency, they would love knowing the fact that you've got people buying the deals off you every day. So Michael's just put, okay, so will Elite Property Tribe have lessons learned, feedback sessions on a periodic basis? It will have them at every bloody session, at the end of every session, because I need to make sure that if you're going off track, I need to pull you back on track very quickly. So, Michael, the last thing I want, remember, I'm making all you guys accountable for your actions. I want to make sure that you know exactly what you're doing, how you're doing. If you're doing something wrong, I want to pull you back online very quickly. So, I think I've answered a lot of questions there, guys. Just going back, there's a link. You've got my mobile number. You've had sufficient time to take my mobile number. The rest now is up to you guys. I've got a few guys online that I recognise. If you want to have a chat, now's your time. I'm probably going to be taking calls up until about 10:30, so you've got an hour. If I can't get through to you, maybe I'm on another call. Send me a text message saying, Arsh, I've just listened to your webinar. My name is X. I'm based here. I'm interested or I want to have a further chat, and then I'll come back to you. Remember, guys, this is an opportunity. Don't treat it as if you go to a property event, it would cost you more than £3,000 for a weekend. Treat this as an opportunity that you're going to have for the next 12 months. That £3,000, even if you only do one deal a month, you're going to make 10 times the amount back. Have a think. Let me know. And then if you are interested, I'll be on my phone until 10:30. But on that note, guys, it really has been a pleasure speaking to you this evening. I'd like to thank you all very much for your time. I'd like to thank you for being here with me. I'd like to thank you for spending time away from your family. And if there's anything else that you'd like to know, you know where I am. So thank you very much, and I'll speak to you all very soon. Take care. Good night. God bless.